the situation for the price of Bitcoin, guys. How's everybody doing? Just kicked the camera here. Not that you need to see me very well, but regardless, we're going to be analyzing the situation here for the price of Bitcoin altogether, guys, because we are grinding to the upside here. Let me know in the comment section. This is the 15-minute time frame. We got some new information that I need to discuss today. So let's break it down, okay? Nothing much has changed on the higher time frame. Nothing has changed. We're looking at either a massive triangle formation that could be at its end stages. We could be looking at a movement to the downside here, which could be breaking down. However, I'm not liking this scenario too much. We've got a few scenarios here, legends, but most importantly, we're going to be focusing on the 15-minute. Get some stuff ready. We did bounce. We did SFP successfully. Did not take this long position, as I explained also on Friday. So I did not take this position, legends. I'm not in a long. I had to take profit on the short throughout the weekend. Obviously, weekend brings low volatility, but we continued a nice, steady uptrend. So we're going to explain a little bit of what's going on here with the price to the downside and price to the upside. This is the main movements that we need to focus on right now, because when we zoom out on the 1 hourly, on the 4 hourly, we got a few scenarios. We got many scenarios, extremely rangy structure that it's not looking too great for the bears. I have to say, the longer we take to roll over from here, the better chance we have in having a movement to the upside, claim 90k and even claiming 95k. I'll explain that throughout this stream, but it's just getting very, very choppy and rangy. Of course, if this has to be some kind of a finished three-wave structure, your impulsive move to the downside, okay, in a contracting diagonal, your corrective structure, this is your impulsive move down. So that would be your wave 1, your wave 2, your next wave 1 and 2, and this should be another wave 1 and 2 and really start breaking down. However, the bounce of the weekend is getting extremely long. This ended up being a three-wave structure. Very, very low probability, even though we haven't hit the golden pocket from this lower high to the low. Golden pocket not hit. This is taking a very, very long time to be a wave 4 when we consider 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now what we see is this being a completely independent move from this movement that we got on Friday to the downside. Okay, so this is something that we need to understand. It's the weekend, just a very choppy, bouncy, low volatility, but we can get some stuff ready. Okay, I had to take some profits, eventually understanding that this no longer looks like an impulse to get a bounce and continuation to the downside. We missed out on the wave 5 throughout Saturday and Sunday. We didn't roll down and claim the low. As we do extend long here, this decreases the probability, of course, of forming that wave 4. So this could be literally is a three-wave structure, meaning that eventually we could be looking to take out these highs at 89,500 at some stage, maybe throughout the week. Now, that doesn't mean that we cannot claim the lows here, and that's the trading plans that I want to get, in this live stream, okay? Of course, we might not claim these lows. This might be multiple 1-2s, and we break out in a third wave throughout Monday. And, it's just not going to... I missed out on the long, I have to say. I'm not interested in longing here. If we do continue pumping and breaking out, I have to say, for me, it's a missed long position. Got into a long last week, got into a short also, throughout the beginning of the week, long position, and throughout Friday, a short position, and missed out in claiming this SFP from these local lows. I wasn't interested, not part of my plan, and I just want to explain a little bit of the plan that I have for my next trading setup. Totally transparent here on the next setups that I'm looking for. If I said I'm not interested in the long, I'm not going to jump in the long here. unless I see something very, very clear. Of course, low volatility, just a choppy uptrend that we've had throughout the weekend. So today we're going to discuss the things that I have ready. Okay, of course, we're coming to the end of the year, and you know, I think there's not many people wanting to trade or that, but tomorrow the markets are open, and we're going to be here. We're going to be doing those long live streams and actually detecting those possible high probability setups. I am currently not interested in shorting or longing anywhere in this zone, okay? Not interested. I am aware of the bullish case. I'm aware of the bearish case. However, it would be extremely interesting if we were to claim the lows here at 86.4k, okay, from Wednesday. I would be extremely interested in longing, guys, if we do sweep up these lows. At this point, the bearish scenario, which is getting a successful breakdown from this point with the structure that we've developed in the last few days, counting the weekend as well, it is low probability to nuke down here. So if we were to sweep up these lows and sweep up that liquidity, that is the moment that I'm very interested in getting into the long position. Will we get that movement to the downside? That is the question, right? I know certain patterns and certain movements that if it does happen, I'm very interested in taking that long, which I want to break down, of course, in today's live stream. Short positions, I mean, we are claiming the highs here. It does look very choppy. It looks like it does want to roll over, but there is a bullish scenario as well here, which is eventually just forming multiple 1-2s, or actually forming a contracting diagonal here, correcting, getting that volatile move, not this movement down. If it doesn't break down successfully to sweep up these lows and starts chopping around, then eventually we could be looking at a 1-2 and then 3 to the upside, or an A, B, C. So we're going to break down the levels, break down the movements here properly with no quick drawings, so we can actually understand this. I just opened a short looking for the range lows. Yeah, as long as you manage risk, it does look like after this aggressive move down. Of course, this is the kind of area where we do have this a bit of a gap, right? A bit of that fair value gap. This is why I'm, you know, just don't like this zone, this fair value gap. We are uptrending since the drop of Friday, and it does look like it wants to lose, right? This kind of wedgie structure, right? It's a bit of an ascending wedge. You know, it is tempting without a doubt, right? It is tempting to jump into that short because we're overall downtrending for the last not only few weeks, but few months, of course, from all-time high. And it is very, very tempting. I understand that. But for me, it's not a short that I'm going to participate in, right? Even though it does look like, right, it's wedging, very poor bounce throughout the weekend just to open on Monday for that collapse down, right? To get into the range lows here at 86.6. I'm not participating. It's not the trade that I want to get into. I've got this gap here. There are some bullish scenarios that are disturbing, unfortunately. So if I am a little bit 50-50, I want something that looks quite clear for me to enter a position. For me, longing here, this double bottom in the end made sense, okay? Because you had a proper move to the downside with a high volume in the middle here. And when you get this choppiness, it is the moment to get a bounce. I understand that this is the moment to get a bounce. So I'm interested in that long. Once we get that bounce, I understand that this is very likely corrective, just because you had this mess in the middle, and eventually you have, you know, very, very overlappy structure. If this is your wave 3, you really want to get out of the zone, wave 4 and 5. And, you know, as we had this overlap with the part of this wave 2, right, I just, you know, this zone was actually interesting for shorts, as explained also on Thursday. So, yeah, this zone becomes interesting for shorts. You know, this zone became interesting for longs. Where we at right now, I have to say, we need to get out of this zone. And there are several ways on how the price can move. right? There's only a certain ways the price can move, and I have them ready here for you here, looking at the 15-minute time frame. We'll start off with the bearish move, okay, which is actually coming down to below 86,400. And that is the moment I want to get ready for some long positions, because I know that the probability of, if we move down from here, the continuation to the downside has a very, very low probability. And you might think, well, why? The main reason is because in this movement down, you have a three-wave structure, okay? And if you have a three-wave structure and this massive bounce, which we are counting as an independent wave, not a wave 4 anymore. This would have been nice for a wave 4 here, and then take out the low. Then that would have been nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would have been interesting for double bottom. You know, look for the fifth wave here. Look for this bounce. Okay, if we would have got that movement down, I would have been very interested in that long position here throughout Saturday. If we would have got the movement down to sweep up the lows, that is an acceptable long, because I realize that you're finishing a fifth wave here, and that you are likely going to get that bounce to sweep up the lower highs that were created, which is kind of in this zone where we are at the moment, right? Like an intraday setup. But that didn't happen, so we're just bouncing and, you know, ranging here to the upside. So what is next? You know, what is next? I can see some people already in the comment section. First of all, I need to obviously say this message, guys. Disclaimer here. This content is for educational purpose only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, guys. Let's go quickly through the comment section, and I'll break down a little bit of the scenarios that I'm looking for. Of course, there are some movements in this in the plans that I'm going to talk about that I will likely miss, okay? And obviously the bullish one, which is moving up from here, I will miss this long, okay? However, we don't need to catch them all, okay? We don't need to catch every single trade, but I am aware about this, and I understand. You know, if you wanting to short here, I completely understand. I can see somebody saying, you know, I entered a short already. For me, there's no high probability of rejection here. Of course, it looks like it's going to reject. It's like breakdown, losing steam. We are downtrending, lower highs, right? It just seems like pretty obvious that we want to look for a short in this bounce, right? As we get this weekend choppiness. However, for me, it's not clear. It's not clear for me to jump into this short in this wedgie structure. There's too many bullish options eventually, which we're going to break down. Let's go quickly through the comment section. Hello, chartist. Have a great day. Enjoy the year end, and the new one is one on the brink. Let's hope it is a good one. Really much love, my man. Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year for everyone. Okay, make sure to be happy in the last few days. We'll probably do a live stream on the 31st. Why not? I think the markets are open on the 31st, closed on the 1st. Alex, much love. Let's get it. BTC 2026, maybe 24K US dollar. Wow, well, that's pretty low. That would be very interesting if we went that low. LFG says, Alec, much love, my man. MR Fulmineo, much love to you. Paz Maria Vallejos, hi everyone. Simple 3 Jack, how are you doing? Devin, Casper Network, Casper, good morning, much love. Casper Crew here. Casper Network, okay. Casper, I thought you meant Jason Casper. Casper Network, oof, not long time since I haven't taken a look at that project. Hi, Amazing Live, Epic Art, much love. Emirate Trades, much love to you. Spin, I just opened a short looking for range low, says Spin B. There is an inverted head and shoulders on Bitty, start on the 28th of October. Interesting. Inverted head and shoulder on Bitty starting from the 28th of October. Starting on the 28th of October. All the way up here, inverted head and shoulder. Yeah, not on the 28th of October, not on my chart. Yeah. What is up with BNB? Scorpions, I have no clue. I've got an Ethereum chart ready, but I have it for tomorrow's live stream. Tomorrow's live stream is going to be the long one. Today's going to be a Sunday update, okay, on what I'm looking for more internally on the 15-minute, guys, okay? I'm not looking for... We'll be doing an overview of the higher time frame picture tomorrow. Tomorrow's the long live stream, guys, where we're gonna see some volatility eventually. Markets are open. It is Monday. Today's very slow. I'm not interested locally here in taking any decision, but we can get some stuff ready, and that's what it's all about, right? Next moves. Looking for the preparation of the week, and that's what we're going to do here on the live stream. I am in no new trading setups. Trading is a game of being patient and looking for high probability setups, right? And not jumping on every single, movement that we have, right? If it's not clear. So, tomorrow we're doing higher time frame update. There's nothing major changing here at the moment. Today we're just going to focus on the 15-minute, guys, okay? 15-minute time frame, which is relatively low time frame, and it's purely based a little bit on the local movements that we have. I mean, I'm not even I'll have to consider this movement, but it's mainly the movement down locally from Friday and the movement up from the weekend, right? Which looks like a kind of a bearish flag wedgie structure. But I want to explain a little bit what's going on with this movement, right? What we need to be aware of from this movement here, which obviously it looks very, very bear flag-ish, right? It looks like a wedge that wants to finally break to the downside, but I'm not taking it, guys. I'm not taking this short. I have no new trades open. I had to take some profits from this short. I know I was looking for the lows to be claimed, but as the bounce evolved throughout the weekend, you realize that, this is a three-wave structure, and this is an individual wave at the moment, which is what we're going to break down here and bring the conclusion on the different movements that could develop here. So with the idea of the triangle, okay, on the higher time frame, if the triangle is still going to be something, which is what we do not know, but it's still a possibility. I mean, it's been my favorite structure for the last week, where it would be nice to get another move to the downside here. I mean, it would be nice to get another movement to the downside. I'm just going to explain a little bit on the 15-minute. We ain't going to zoom out too much, okay? We ain't going to zoom out too much. But overall, sweeping up these lows is what I would want, okay? I would really want the price to come down and sweep up the lows of this week, basically, which is at 86,300. As mentioned, the probabilities here of breaking down, the probabilities of, breaking down even to claim 84.4, I think there's quite low probability here in a successful breakdown, okay? Which there is a very, very good chance that after sweeping this low, potentially going to the low 85k region, we could be looking for a reversal bounce, okay? I'm not sure if we're going to get down there, guys, but if we do, I understand that I am not looking at this to be a motive wave to the downside. For me, this is a three-wave structure. I actually have my doubts that we're actually going to move down from here, guys. But as we have this three-wave structure to the downside and this very, very long bounce, I am not seeing this as a wave 4. On Friday, we had the plan of wave 4, wave 5. This would have been a very interesting long position, right? Once we sweep up these lows to sweep up the fourth wave, right? That's kind of a little bit of a strategy that I have. Long the fifth wave to claim the fourth wave, which is very, very effective. As this didn't happen, I understand that based on this structure, that it's extremely long, that this is a three-wave move down. As we have this three-wave move to the downside, I can label this, if we were to roll down from here, I am not seeing this as a wave 1, because a wave 1 needs a 5-wave impulse to the downside to have a corrective bounce to then break down in a wave 3. This is why I'm, speculating that a movement down from here will not succeed to go down to much, much lower levels. Of course, sweeping up this low, and that's the moment I would be interested in looking for reversal signs, which I'm going to explain right away. So as we've got this 3-wave to the downside, I cannot label it as a wave 1. I can not label it as a wave A, only if it were to be a flat. Okay, if you have a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and then a 5-wave down, which is a flat, then yes, a 3-wave structure to the downside can be an A wave if you are going to form a flat and your B wave is going to claim almost the top of the A wave. That's something that I'm not looking at the moment. So the bearish scenario, local bearish scenario to break down here, I understand that what is very, very likely is that this would be a wave W in a zigzag. Just talking about the individual waves here at the moment on the 15-minute. Okay, I'm not going to go zoom too far away. Just understanding that if we claim the lows below 86,400, which we do have significant liquidity, right? We do have significant liquidity here at 86. Yeah, below 86.3, the lows basically of this week. A sweep of that liquidity and then a pretty decent reversal is what I would expect based on the Elliott wave theory scenarios here that we have very, very locally. So as I'm looking at, if this as a wave W, I would easily say that if we were to roll down from here, that all of this is a wave X. And a wave X can be any complex corrective structure. It can be a WXY, it can be a triangle, it could be a double zigzag, it can be, all sorts of, different ways. And as we do have very, very choppy uptrend here, if we were to start moving down very aggressively, right, get a bounce and then get another move aggressively to the downside, what I would be looking for is a double zigzag. So I need another zigzag formation here, right? Throughout, between Monday, potentially part of Tuesday, maybe this will be developed if it is the case throughout, tonight and tomorrow. If we are going to roll over from here, right, which does look like it wants to, right? We do have a very, very wedgy uptrendy structure. But if we were to come down there, this is, as I say, there are some bullish scenarios that I want to cover that we actually form higher lows here, or we move down and we move to the upside. But covering where I'm looking for the next position, that's what it's all about. This is the week preparation on how I want to get into my new trade on Monday, just in case this happens before the live stream and we cannot literally position ourselves right throughout the live stream, because this is what we want to do. We want to do live trading. We want to position ourselves live and obviously monitor the price action and our positions throughout the week. But just in case this does happen throughout, the next 15 hours before the stream, which will start at New York Open range, right? Maybe an hour before. So just in case this happens, just so you know what is the plan here, for at least for me. So as I said, I am not expecting, the price might not even come down here. This is one thing with this price action, which I want to explain the different bullish scenarios as well now in the next coming minutes. But if it does, I understand that breaking down successfully is low probability, purely based on the move down that we had on Friday. Okay. So with that said, I'm literally looking for another zigzag down. And as we sweep up these lows, it is important to detect, okay, that zigzag. All right. It needs to be a move down, a little bounce, and then another move to the downside. You need to see some kind of a 3-wave structure and obviously detect that 5th wave on the last movement right, which would be this one, to look for the long positions. Either SFPing from this low, right? You can obviously get that bounce, right? And then this would be the obvious zone to look for long positions, okay? Because you are confirming that it is a 3-wave down. The third wave did not get continuation. I'm not expecting that. So it's going to be a little bit challenging to actually long the lows where it is exactly. And the most obvious one is getting that recovery, right? Kind of a failed auction from the lows that were created on Wednesday. And then, you know, look for the longs once we get this price action right over here. Yeah, this is a little bit of what I'm looking at here. If we were to move down, I don't think we got a daily level at 85.5k. It might come down as low as that, but it's not going to be an easy detection here to get into the long. You know, it might just SFP failed auction from this pivot low, drop a few $100 and then recover. If it is a bit nasty, it will push down maybe to the daily zone and the 7-8 Fibonacci from the pivot low here to the pivot high. So there's the option of just longing and giving a bit of room, of course, for stop loss, entering with, you know, 0.5% of capital. Once you get the first recovery, this would be an ultimate recovery to get to 90k plus. I do think that we're likely going to get to above $90,000 here and maybe higher. But you know, if you want to catch the ultimate low or just get into a long, you know, I would say that this would be easily the invalidation. If that were to be the case. If not, remain patient. If we are doing a live stream and the price action is still in this zone, don't worry, we'll look for, you know, sensible levels to long. If we get that bounce already, I would just say, guys, it's okay to long here. You know, I'm entering a long, and you know, I am expecting a recovery here throughout the next coming days. And you know, we can long late. We don't need to catch the low, but once we get that price action here with confidence, you know, I will realize that this is an end of a movement down. Okay, if we get this bounce tomorrow, if we move like this, I'll be like, guys, you know, this is just there's high probability in getting that recovery. So it doesn't matter. We could probably enter later on and not catch the low. But just so you're aware here, what I would be looking for is that 3-wave zigzag to the downside. That's what I would be looking at here to look for longs once we sweep up this low. Bit of a slowdown. We don't want to long the falling knife wave 3, right? Look for the wave 4, 5, and then look for the reversal, right? So yeah, it's just that's what I would be looking for anyway. Double zigzag here, understanding that the breakdown, the big breakdown is unlikely. So sweeping up the lows at 86.4, coming down to the mid 85k levels is the longing zone here for me that I'm going to be looking for here this week coming. Okay, what if we don't get that movement to the downside, right? And because we have the possibility, and this is a very, very confusing range, guys, I have to say, you know, this has not been an easy range. Imagine all of those swing traders here, right? Getting into longs and shorts. We're basically looking for day trading setups. But there's no swing trades to be taken here throughout the last 12 days, almost 2 weeks right now, because the movements have been to, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 basically, right? These are day trading scenarios, right? Whoever's looking for swing trades in this zone is having a, you know, not a fantastic time, right? So it needs to be intraday setups, right? We understand entry zones, shorting zones. So this is why getting below 86,300. I understand that a successful breakdown is unlikely. Breaking down here is unlikely. So if we do sweep up that liquidity, I'm interested in longs. Okay, as explained. If we do take a look at the other scenarios that I'm looking at, they are both bullish. Because we failed from Friday to form a 5-wave impulse to get a correction and then maybe break down, The rest of the scenarios, the one that I explained is locally bearish, which I'm not sure if we are going to get it, guys. I'm not sure if we are going to get that movement down below 86.5k. 86.4 to be exact. What are the bullish scenarios? Bullish scenario locally here, just because we've taken so long with this movement, I am not considering a wave 4. Also, Devil was pointing out here the base channel here from this pivot height, from the start of wave 1 to the end, okay, of wave 1, and then get your wave 2. Eventually, yeah, this is an individual wave. When you see your wave 4, preferably your wave 4 takes the low of the base channel or the center part of the base channel and avoids to touch the top of the base channel. Once that happens, the probabilities of expecting a wave 4 here significantly decrease a lot. Okay, so we're looking at something different here. There's no wave 4 to be looked at this moment with this long uptrend that we got from the weekend. So the downside scenarios are looking poor. Okay, they're looking poor. And if we were to get that downside scenario, I realize that breakdown from this zone, successful breakdown, is low probability. So if we were to get that movement down, eventually the zigzag down in W, X wave, zigzag down here, and a recovery has the higher probability. Okay, so what are the bullish scenarios? Bullish scenarios here locally would be multiple 1-2s. Multiple 1-2s. That's the most bullish scenario. So you got your leg 1 here, wave 2, another wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're basically forming higher lows in multiple 1-2s, and you just look for the breakout in a wave 3 here to then only just 4-5, 4-5, right? You kind of grind here to the upside. That's if we were to get a significant move up here with high volume. This is going to be complex. I would only have the scenario to look for the short once we get that choppiness. Of course, coming up, you know, it all really depends on where that wave 3 ends, right? We don't know where a wave 3 can end here. So that wave 3 could absolutely rocket. It could be very shallow. It's a matter of waiting for the choppiness here into levels of resistance. What levels of resistance do we have? You know, we don't have many levels of resistance to the upside, but we got some pretty decent liquidity grab levels, okay, which are eventually 89.5k and also 90.5k as well, the highs here that we had on Monday. So these two major zones are going to be quite interesting if we were to get that wave 3 and then boom, 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 right, that choppiness here into this zone to look for the double, triple tops and then get the pullback. Of course, you want that wave 3 to stop and slowly get that grinding structure to the upside, which is eventually where we, you know, I would be looking for the short trade entry. Very messy, guys. You know, I have to say, even though it has been messy, there's been a couple of successful trades throughout the week. Okay, looking for the bounce in this region, looking for the short yesterday here, which was a failed auction SFP. We did get a little internal double top, but the shorts were in favor. Okay, I was in doubt a little bit here based on timing, but it did end up moving down successfully. So with this price action right now, as mentioned, we need the next information. Now, Monday, tomorrow, we're going to see the markets open. We are going to get some movements. And as explained, these are the movements that I'm looking at. If it is going to roll over, I want a zigzag down to sweep up these lows. That's when I'm looking for longs. That's when we have a completed zigzag to the downside here in price action, right? You need to identify that zigzag. You need to identify this. Preferably, I want to see these lows swept where we sweep up that liquidity. Then I'll look for longs. I'm not in a long position right now. So if the bullish scenario plays out, which is the multiple 1-2s, I missed the long, right? I missed the long. What can we say? I longed here this week. I shorted here. It's a zone that you need to enter, take profit. You're going to get wicked out. You're going to miss some positions. It's a complex range. There's no major trend direction here for the moment for the last 2 weeks, right? When you take a look at the last 2 weeks price action, we ain't got a trend, right? This is like, we need to get into the, you know, the range highs, range lows, liquidity grab zones, and just trade the range basically till we actually break out. Being aware of a breakout is something that we want to be cautious about. And, you know, obviously when we do get that movement to the upside or to the downside to sweep up the levels, this is a zone that not many people are going to be interested in long, and I can tell you that, right? If we move down here in, you know, in the next coming hours, right, 24 to 48 hours, Monday, Tuesday, this is going to be a zone that not many people are going to want a long here, right? Not many people, as we get the movements down here. When we get that slowdown into this zone, I'm going to be the one that's long, and that's for sure. And it's either going to see this, watch for the slowdown, or create that failed auction from this low. Of course, the problem here of being bearish and looking for the rollover, guys, is this movement down. This movement down is not helping for the bearish move. So, bullish scenario. Hold on a minute, I'm trying to combine here something with this. Yeah. Hang on a minute. Yeah, no, not looking too great for this to still be WXY. Hey. Yeah, just looking for a combination here for the bearish scenario, which we actually roll down and break down, okay? Because with this structure, we formed a 3-waver, but if we are going to consider, bear with me here, guys, because I just found out that, you know, there could be a bearish scenario, but there's not enough information here. Wave 2 here would be still on the formation. Okay, bear with me here, guys. But this is looking at this being impulsive in a wave 1, 3-wave structure to the upside, 3-wave down, and now, you know, this is literally a wave W, wave X, which is very, very fast in time, and then your wave Y is on the formation here, which I'm not liking it. You know, this is just too choppy. But this would either look for a flat structure and then roll down to finish your WXY, or look for a triangle formation here, which would be taking too long, basically. And that's basically looking at this as wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3. Not the best looking scenario. I'm not going to put it on the chart. I think it has low probability based on the formation here. I'm just looking at the bearish scenario, okay? Looking at, you know, is it possible? Obviously, we need to understand the possibilities of breaking down from here very aggressively, like in a wave 3, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Could there be a combination here of a WXY? I don't see it. We would have to see more information. This would have to end up in a triangle, okay, which for the moment we got a low and a high, so there's no triangle formation here. Or it would have to form a flat where you sweep up the low, then sweep up the high. And then I would consider that this could be the end of your wave 2, where you have a zigzag up in your wave W, your zigzag down in wave X, and then you're flat here in a wave Y. But we will find, you know, if we sweep up the lows now and get an epic bounce to sweep up the local highs, this is going to be an epic short, guys. It's going to be an epic short. So I think this is obviously going to take time to develop, which we can talk about in the next coming days. You know, we will detect those trading setups. Don't worry, okay? We will detect those trading setups. I know trading is boring, guys. If you want to be hyped up on making gains, you know, looking at scenarios and trying to make quick gains, the casino's a better place. If you want that hype, trading, it needs to be treated as a skill, as a high probability setups. But yeah, this, I'm not liking this. We need more information for that, for the bearish scenario, which is literally moving, you know, as explained, breaking down from here. If we are going to roll down from here, breaking down successfully is low probability. Okay, so this is why sweeping up these lows, if we are going to roll down from here in the next coming hours, there is literally low probability in like breaking down. You know, sweeping up these lows and getting a reversal is high probability based on the information that we have here. So yeah, that's the long in zone interest. Bullish scenarios, let's break down the few bullish scenarios. If we were to move up from here, for me it's a miss long. I didn't long any of this movement as explained. You know, I'm going to be transparent here with my trades, guys, that, you know, I'm looking to take these trades mainly live, if not get them ready, just in case I'm not live and we get to the zones and we move as we explain here on the stream. But if we form here multiple 1-2s and we end up breaking up here on the start of Monday, right? So we form another higher low and we just finally break up, then we have to consider here multiple 1-2s on the formation, which we just need to wait for the wave 3 to get to a stop, right? And then obviously what I would be looking for is that slowdown after getting the high volume movement. This is very similar to this movement to the downside, where we had the couple of 1-2s, boom, third wave, 4-5, right? Once you get that high volume move, and then you're looking to claim the lows here, you're looking for a few 4-5s. This is why this area looking for longs was ideal, right? This week, looking for the internal longs, double bottoms was the ideal setup here, which was very successful in the end. We talked about that long on, was it Christmas Eve, saying, guys, we got a chance here of getting the bounce, back test the level SFP, and that's what happened. We got the bounce. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit being a bit patient here, guys. You know, there's just no quick tap the level and short. There's no, this level is for rejection. As soon as we hit this level, let's put some limit orders, go to bed, wake up, you know, tomorrow or after tomorrow and see where the price is. There's just none of that trading here. So we need to see how the price slows down if it were to move up here with high volume, fill that fair value gap, you know, and start coming into the resistance zones. This is the moment where it's going to be looking very interesting. Eventually, we do have a couple of SFP levels. Not that I would say that we have massive volume levels here in this zone. Yeah, unfortunately not. Fortunately, this is not enough of a range here to have high volume. So yeah, it's just not going to be easy. I would rather see the sweep of the highs, which is where we have the liquidity. So there's no quick short trade anywhere in this zone. Okay, for me, it's just no short trade if we were to get a leg to the upside. So I will have to remain patient to either, you know, wait for the 4-5 scenarios here and look for the SFPs. We need at least a couple of 4-5s, as we do have a couple of 1-2s in this zone. to start considering the shorts at specific levels where we claim that liquidity. Okay, so it's just not gonna, there's no quick action. Tomorrow's Monday. We do have market open. We're likely going to get that movement either up or down, and we'll have clear signs. For me to take a short position, we need to go higher. There's no quick levels, no naked point of controls or big levels here that I have to say, if we get the SFP, we take in the short, right? There's no major levels, unfortunately, to take that quick short. But we are going to be here live, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, because we are entering trades, or very close and entering trades on the live streams, as we are going to keep them long, at least 3 hours, potentially to 4 hours. We have time. The price moves throughout New York Open, and it will get some levels locally wherever the price is, ready to possibly execute some trading setups. Okay, so where we at, of course, with this crappy bounce from the weekend, it's like, I'm not interested. We either move down to sweep up the lows, then I'm looking for longs. Then we are looking for longs. If we get the movement to the upside, I'll be interested in shorts, because I will understand that literally the price is moving up impulsively, but eventually we'll be getting some kind of a pullback, right, before getting any type of continuation to the upside. So we'll be looking for shorts, but then looking for longs eventually, depending on how the move happens to the downside, right? So we're going to have to go level by level. We're going to identify the possible swing trades, the possibility of breaking out from higher levels. It doesn't matter if I missed out on long in here, if the price decides to form a new uptrend in the next coming days, because we'll be longing somewhere else. We're not catching the low, but catching another higher probability, higher low potentially, if that is going to be the case. So yeah, you just need to bear with me here, guys. Eventually, really poor price action, very choppy environment. We need to get a little bit out of the zone already, right? We've got highs, higher lows. Yeah, you know, realizing that this is not impulsive. It's a three-wave structure. You know, you either move down to sweep up the lows, low probability in breaking down. I'm looking for longs in this area without a doubt. Okay, and if we move from here, I have to say I missed the long from here. I don't like this SFP. Maybe some of you did enter, but I will be looking for shorts. If we pop out here, grind, I need a couple of 4-5s, I need a little bit of a choppy, rangy structure, understanding that this could be an impulse, and obviously I'll be looking for the SFPs. But if we move up here with high volume, I'm not getting into the first SFP if we are moving up with high volume here, opening on Monday. Not that I think that this is going to happen, but I just don't know if it's going to happen, right? So eventually on the first leg up with high volume, I'm not interested in these SFPs. I'm only interested if we get the movement up and it stops, and then we start forming this kind of price action. I will be looking for these pivots as SFPs and looking for local double tops once we get at least a couple of 4-5s. Then it becomes interesting, because the movement down is going to be, you know, obviously a profitable scenario here. So I'm looking for the double, triple tops once we get the stop after getting them leg up. I ain't going to be shorting, just like I'm not long in here, the movement down, right? I need a little bit of that exhaustion coming to these pivots. So that's the shorts that I would be looking for. Okay, I'm interested in shorts on the movement up, but not on the first straight leg. The leg needs to stop at some point. Wherever it stops and starts grinding to the upside, then that's the moment I'm interested in the local SFPs to get that correction down. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit of, we need that information here throughout today and tomorrow, which for the moment, you know, I'm not interested in this zone. Not interested at all in this area. I'm realizing about the breakdown. I'm realizing about the pop-up. I want the price to either move to this area or move to this area. Now, there's one other scenario that's quite interesting, which is a contracting leading diagonal, which, you know, I have to give it a chance without a doubt. I have to give it a possibility here. Have to give it a possibility. Okay, this would be this right over here, which is a 5-wave move to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if the price does get a movement to the downside here, right, throughout the next coming hours between today and tomorrow. So say that we started the move down, we get a little bit of a bounce, and then we get another move down. If the price does not continue successfully to the downside, and we can identify between today and tomorrow a corrective move, which the third wave does not claim this low, and then we get the overlap, we could obviously identify this tomorrow. I would be actually interested in longs depending on how the price action moves here. So if we form a 3-wave structure, sweep up the local higher lows of the weekend, you know, we probably bounce at, you know, the previous day point of control value area low. It might just sweep up the low, form an SFP. I'm not interested in this SFP. I need more information. Eventually, I need a 3-wave move to the downside and a impulsive move to the upside. Then we could be looking for longs here, without a doubt. All of this is going to take hours to develop. So, but there could be a long setup here, not only to claim the highs, but obviously to claim the highs at 89.5k. So we're going to have to see if we get a movement down and we do not claim the lows here throughout tomorrow, right? Say that price moves down, right? It's still in the range, still a bunch of crap of price action, right, to trade, unless you're scalping on the 1 minute. I want to find bigger moves, right? I want to find the bigger moves here of at least $2,000 to $3,000. Not that interested in a few $100s of a move, which is what we're basically having here throughout the weekend, you know, or a little uptrend here. So yeah, we're going to identify this tomorrow. If we get a movement to the downside and we do not claim below 86.5k and we literally move down, but we're still forming a range, we could identify here the possibility of this being an ascending contracting diagonal, leading diagonal, okay, and look for long positions. This could either be a wave 1 or a wave A, and eventually whatever happens here between today and tomorrow, if we do correct down and we do not get the breakdown, obviously a wave B or a wave 2, and we need to identify the, you know, corrections here to jump into the long before we get that new uptrend that might happen tomorrow or entering on Tuesday. So it might be a little swing depending on the information that we get tomorrow, okay? But just because we've got this crappy bounce throughout the weekend, man, we got a few scenarios here, unfortunately. There's the multiple 1-2s, right? It would have been easier to see the 5-wave move to the downside, jump into a long, and then, you know, get this corrective bounce. And today just say, guys, there's high probability that we're going to sweep up these lows. So, you know, looking for shorts here, either fair value gap or the golden pocket, right? It would have been much easier if we would have got that last leg down here throughout Saturday, or part of, yeah, basically Saturday had to be the day to claim that low, to be a little bit more sure about the situation. But right now, what is clear for me is that this is a 3-wave down, and that is a problem. As we got a 3-wave down here, and this is taking ages to be a wave 4, well, it opens the door to many local scenarios here, which means I'm not interested in taking a trade setup. Not that we don't have much confluence levels We're still very rangy, so we need to get out of this zone. And one of the scenarios that I identify here is obviously a contracting diagonal. We would have to see a poor move to the downside here throughout today and tomorrow, which is getting that volatility, and then I can identify this guy and say, okay, this is very, very corrective move down. We're probably going to get that pop to the upside. We'll be looking for long scenarios, and if the price moves up here, the other scenario is forming the multiple 1-2s, which is getting that breakout in that wave 3 and then chopping in 4-5s in this zone, or maybe higher. Just don't know exactly where the third wave is going to finish, but we need that choppiness somewhere in this zone to start looking for the reversal. That's what I know how the price, that's how I know how the price can move. I don't know which one's going to happen. I know which ones can happen, and based on the one that happens, I know how to position myself. So with this one, it would have to get the move up in a wave 3, come into SFP levels where we're forming the choppiness, where it could be the 4-5s, and then the double triple tops are the interesting levels to enter the short to get a significant correction down eventually, right? And then the other one, which is locally bearish but higher time frame bullish, is the one that I explained here at the beginning of the stream, which is literally seeing this zigzag as a wave W. All of this complex, it could be a zigzag up, a flat, and another zigzag to the upside. Doesn't really matter. I want that zigzag down. Once that zigzag down is sweeping up the lows, that's where I'm looking for the long bounce, which has high probability. But the price needs to come down to this area, and I know that the probabilities of continuing down from here is low probability. So look no further. If we do come down, I know there is a good chance of bouncing here between 85 and 86k zone. So yeah, it's a matter of being patient here, guys. Nothing else. So yeah, that's a little bit it, guys. Maybe a lot of people were expecting, man, I hope this Sunday update from Andy is going to be absolutely a banger. And maybe people are like, oh, well, there's no real local entries at the moment, right? And it's just there isn't, guys. Unfortunately, there isn't. The information provided since Friday's drop is giving me a few options. And obviously, as we do have a few options here with the bullish and bearish local scenario, either moving down or moving 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, then the reversal. I know where the price is likely going to reverse, either for a long or either for a short. So we need this information still. And right now, there's just no high probability setup, unfortunately, here. Even though I know that the average Joe, not that I'm saying that you're an average Joe if you're looking for a short here, but just be aware that I know this looks like an ascending wedge or a bear flag, and most are going to be looking for this eventually. So just understanding the market structure, understanding that this is a 3-wave to the downside. There are the options of moving up from here, or if it moves down also, that it is a fake out of this wedgie structure. Just be aware of that, because that's what we have at the moment. Okay. Yes, no new trades at the moment, as explained. Short trade from Friday ended up in a success. Had to take some profits eventually, understanding the bounce, saying, this is not a wave 4, probably going to get a move up from here. I need to take some profits. I will leave some open just in case we get that double zigzag. Ultimately, I would want to see, I would be taking most of the rest of the profits below 86.4. And then obviously look for the long positions. I might leave a little bit open for the hedge. Okay, to hedge against the long eventually, just in case it doesn't work out. But we'll be going through all of the setups, guys. The setups, because I'm going to be doing long live streams. So there is a good chance that most of my trades here moving forward will be opened. Most of them may be on stream, okay, regardless if they're day trades or swing trades, and leaving some open eventually. So just to basically you know, look at the setups eventually throughout the next coming months and, you know, throughout 2026. Legends, if you are interested in trading, Bluffin is a great trading platform. That's the one that I'm currently trading on. This is where we'll be doing most of our, you know, live trades throughout Monday to Friday, mainly on New York Open. If you are interested, you got an epic bonus down below, $1,000 deposit bonus. You deposit 7K, you're getting 1,000. You deposit 5K, you're getting 750. You just need an email and a password. That is using the first affiliate link down below in the description. Come and join me trading on Bluffin. You got other exchanges down below, of course, if you are interested in the other ones. Thanks, mate, for the live. You're very welcome, my man. Much love to you. I can see some confidence coming back into the US economy soon. Apparently some kid just found a multi-billion-dollar fraud in Minnesota, USA. They're expecting to save the US taxpayers $15 billion or so. Wow, I'm not aware of this scenario. It's summer here in OZ, so it's definitely shorts weather, but you'd rarely see me without my longs on. Okay, what about the bullish candle from the 19th in bearish scenario? Shouldn't we test 85K to 85.4K instead of 86? What about the bullish candle from the 19th in bearish scenario? Shouldn't we test 85.4K? What on the 19th? What about the bullish candle? What bullish candle from the 19th? What time frame from the 19th? What time frame that is? Maybe the daily from the 19th bullish candle. Yeah, from this pivot, this movement. I'm not sure if you're looking at the daily or so. You're gonna have to give me a little bit more information here. Bullish candle from the 19th. The bullish scenario, I'm not sure if you're talking about this being an impulse. Yeah, we got a big problem here for this being an impulse. It's without a doubt, we are looking to get very, very squeezed here. And a breakout is on the formation. So we really want to be very, very cautious with our local ranging, you know, scenarios on setups here, because I know it's been, you know, relatively fun to get into intraday setups here, like shorts, long, shorts, long, shorts, longs, right? It's fun trading the range till it's breaking out, right? So without a doubt, on the higher time frame, we are very, very close in getting that larger move of $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, like really leaving this area to maybe sweep up, you know, these lows or maybe these highs over here and get out a little bit of this area, this boring area that we've had in the last 2 weeks. But I have to say, for the moment, you know, we've been ranging here for the last 2 weeks. We might be a few more days. Pump $1,000, dump $1,000. You know, you sweep up these lows, then bounce. I'm very much interested. I'm not sure if we will get it, guys, but if we sweep up these lows, the probabilities in breaking down are really, really decreasing as the range extends here. Especially considering the contracting diagonal, unfortunately, which has low probability for this to be a finished WXY leading diagonal. I mean, to be bearish, you need pretty aggressive moves to the downside and, you know, pretty obvious bounces. We actually talked about a short here. This was back in November. Very aggressive moves to the downside, lots of resistance, very three-wave corrective structures. We were talking about shorts even. Not sure if you guys remember. I'm sure if you are a legit follower, you do. But we talked about shorting this level, but also understanding that this is likely multiple 1-2s. The movements down were aggressive and the bounces were a bunch of crap. They were very corrective on the 5-minute, 15-minute time frame. This is the 4-hourly. We just identified that this is just very likely multiple 1-2s, that continuing to the downside from this zone is just extremely likely. And that's what you need to see. You need to see strong moves to the downside, very, very corrective bounces. And when we fast forward to today, yeah, I get it. This movement does look very corrective. But with the new information that we're getting from the last lower high of this bounce, this bear flag, if you wish, this is not looking great as an impulse. The only leading, the only motive wave that you have here that you can fit nicely, because you can't fit an impulse here, is a leading diagonal. It's a diagonal, and a leading diagonal has the lowest probability. So it's just not looking pretty for the bears to like really break down at this point. It's just not this is getting exhausted, and the movements to the upside here in the next coming weeks are looking more attractive to claim 90k and even 95k. Movements, reversal signs are looking more attractive, just because the movements down are not providing any solid impulse, any solid power. And if you do get a leading move to the downside and a motive wave, and you're getting this kind of bounce, right, which is extremely choppy, WXY structures, taking an extreme long amount of time, this is when we flip, on, guys, we're probably forming a triangle in this zone. We're probably going to get a rally. This could be the low. It might be the low here where the E wave is in. Because, the movements down are not looking too great as impulse. So the range is extending. And, for the moment, the probabilities here of extending the range, or even coming up to sweep up the highs at 90k and even get above 95k, are actually looking quite attractive. So probabilities are definitely decreasing as time goes by with new information, and extending the range after this possible leading move to the downside, right? A leading diagonal and a motive wave. It's just taking a long time. And after a leading diagonal, the most common correction is a pretty sharp zigzag to get to the golden pocket, even the 7-8, and then move down, and that's your wave 1, wave 2, and forming a very large range after a leading diagonal in a sideways corrective structure is just very, very uncommon. And that's when you come up with the idea that you're either forming a triangle, which is my preferred scenario. The triangle scenario is my preferred one at the moment, which eventually is looking for a leg up to hit above 90.5k. Because if this is the triangle A, B, C, D, E to finish your X wave, you're literally looking to sweep up this high at a bare minimum. You could form a zigzag up, okay, or you could form a flat structure and then roll down. But overall, it's just the bearish scenario to really roll over and break down below 80k at the moment for the next week to 2 weeks. It's really decreasing in probability based on the extension, based on the local movements to the downside. You're just not pushing down as you should to get that continuation to the downside. Yeah, a few months ago, a few weeks ago even, it was looking great. It was extremely more bearish. The bounces were very corrective. The local movements to the downside were aggressive. And it was like, guys, we're looking for continuation down here because it's just looking very, very promising for the bears. But it's not looking that promising for the bears with this local structure. So even though the trend is down, but this is where you get the signs, right? This is there will be signs of reversing, and these are the classic signs of reversing that we are getting here. The movements down are not looking that powerful anymore. So yeah, that's eventually the clear signs for that local reversal, right? We ain't going to talk about all-time high, but you know, getting 90k swept, 90, even 95k swept in the next coming weeks, it's something that is looking pretty attractive. We need to do a local update on, we need to do an update on the higher time frame tomorrow. Okay, we'll be discussing the daily time frame, discussing this movement to the downside. Is this still a possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's lowering in probability. This is extending too much in time. You know, that we'll be talking about Elliott wave theory on the higher time frame tomorrow. It's about time to talk about a higher time frame update. We'll be doing the daily, we'll be doing the 4-hourly time frame, and we'll be discussing the intraday setups, of course, as we do get New York Open, and we'll have some levels ready and some scenarios locally to get into those intraday setups tomorrow, legends. Okay, so I'm also putting in Ethereum tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a long one. First of all, I will get the setups ready that we're looking for at New York Open on the 15-minute time frame, right? Even going down to the 5-minute. And then we'll do the updates on what we think here of the potential price action that we could get on the higher time frame for the next coming weeks. Okay. Not much news. We do have on the 30th of December, which is Tuesday, the FOMC minutes. That's 11 p.m. I don't think I'll be live by then, but there's not really much news. Of course, we're coming into the end of the year. Not that much volatility. So we're going to have to look for intraday setups. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce at the moment. Locally, it did look like it wanted to roll over. Stay cautious. We are uptrending throughout the weekend. This is one of those patterns that it looks like a bear flag or a wedge, but it has the risk of moving up here, guys. This is why I'm not interested in shorts or longs or anything here in this zone. We need to get out of the zone here for me to get a setup into a setup, which is the scenarios that I explained throughout today's stream. Anyway, this is just a little bit of fluff here on the stream, a little bit of what I'm looking locally, okay, on the next movements and where I want to get positioned, guys, as explained. Okay, no new positions. All right, new positions, hopefully we get them on stream tomorrow. That will be round about New York Open, so make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell, and let's trade, guys. Let's trade for the week. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. Okay, much love to everybody. Thank you for joining. I will go more through the Trump just said bullish, something bullish. Hi Andy, why not to spot at 86.3? Mike, much love. I will go through the comment section more tomorrow, guys. It is Sunday. It was just a general update on the 15-minute. Okay, and I'm sorry, there's not really high probability. Papito, se le manda mucho cariño de North Carolina. Vegas Claw, much love to you, my man. Much love. Quedado en Valencia. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining. I will read the comment section tomorrow, okay? Calm before the storm. Thanks for the update. Mumtaz, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining, guys, and smashing up the like button. Tomorrow is, we need to look for a live trade. We need to look, we'll do a higher time frame on Bitcoin and what are the different probabilities. But man, it's been, I get it. It is the week, it is the holidays. But it has been a pretty boring range. But this is what you get for the holidays as well. December is relatively slow. So January is we're gonna see some action, guys. And we want to be the best of the best. Thank you for joining. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.